All right, so this week in Pax Day, the new update R47 hit finally, and we have a whole new set of achievements. All of everyone's beautiful pawns have now been overrun by geese, so get out the bow and start using all of the new bow shooting mechanics and go and wipe out all of those geese because they are so annoying. But in addition to that, we also have one of the most asked questions that I have seen on the channel since as far back as January finally get answered, and it has to do with the free play weekend that happened all the way back in January. So we have a lot to talk about today. Hello and welcome back, all of you amazing and professional consumers of Pax Day and Pax Day related content. I'm Altari, the professional gamer, and this is another episode of the Pax Friday Review, the show where we talk about the fun, interesting, new, and exciting information that has come out for Pax Day over the last week. Like I said in the intro, one of the most asked questions has been, hey, when I look at the Steam charts, there's a blip in January where a lot more players started playing the game, and that specifically had to do with the free weekend that happened all the way back in January of this year. A lot of players have been asking, why don't they do more of those? We have a little bit of insight to that, and then we also got some great news today about the Pax Day trial, which is coming, so we will be hopping over to the official Discord to talk about that in a little bit. But before we do, I wanted to say a special thanks to all of our channel members for financially supporting the channel. Without you guys supporting the channel, we wouldn't be able to do half of the cool things that we do, not even half, all of the cool things that we do in the community with your support and help. So thank you again for all of that. And for everyone else who maybe isn't in a position to financially help the channel, literally just hitting that like button does more than enough. And if you're down there, you might as well hit that subscribe button too, so you can get notified whenever we come out with new Pax Day or Pax Day related content, and share this video with any of your friends who are interested in learning more about Pax Day. And in the very near future, that is going to be something that is going to be even better and more likely for people to go and do, because we have this new Pax Day trial system, which we're going to go and talk about here in a little bit, in addition to going and checking out the actual patch and talking about some of the bugs and other things that are going on with that. So without further ado, I'll see you over on the official Discord. All right, so here we are on Pax Day's official Discord, and really quickly, I just wanted to take a minute to go over the R47 patch notes and specifically talk about some of the bugs and some of the bug fixes that at least I have noticed here as well. Now, R47 is a really big patch for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it did include a rework and an addition of a new type of bow. And for all of archery and hunting, that rework has come into effect. Specifically, fletching has gotten a lot more love. There's several different new bow types that you can get with new looks to them as well, and new enemies. Well, not new enemies, but enemies are also dropping additional relics for you to pick up, so you can craft the rarer variants of those as well. But in addition to that, they added 289 achievements to the game. Some players are insane and already well underway to completing those, but we're going to make it a channel objective for us to get to 289 at some point in time, maybe before even the end of this year. That is a tall order from me. There's a lot of stuff that I do in the game, and not all of it is relatively at all connected to these achievements, unfortunately. But either way, a lot of new content has been added, and specifically with regards to just giving people objectives and things to aim for. And I think that's really, really good for the game. But then they also have added the new Homesteader Clan membership. And another really kind of exciting one, though I have a feeling most people have already turned it off, is the province chat, which is giving people the opportunity to see not only what other people are saying in other home valleys, but also the opportunity to see who's logging into the game in their home valley, in their clan, and in the province as well. And it's just showing a lot of activity. And I think that's really exciting for players because they're seeing more people playing the game, or they know that there's more people playing the game. They know that they're not the only ones out there, because sometimes Pax Day can be quite a big game and a big undertaking. Now, with that being said, the game did introduce a couple of bugs and other things, some known issues. One of the biggest ones that I encountered that I just wanted to mention here on the PAX Friday review is when you load into a new zone and it's a heavily populated zone, or maybe there is a large build that's a little bit far away from where you loaded into. Right now, for whatever reason, that chunk of the world isn't loading in properly. So when you go into it, your character starts flying. Like, looks like they're not colliding with the ground and they're just kind of floating in the air. And the reason for that is because the chunk didn't load, but the server is most likely telling you something is there, but the client which is rendering what you, the player, are seeing, isn't really seeing that. And the two aren't connecting at the same time, or something's not being streamed the right way. So what ends up happening is your console or your client kind of thinks that you're just floating, even though you're not just floating, you're actually standing on a foundation or something else. But you can't interact with it because the client isn't seeing that thing yet because it hasn't been streamed in. So then you just kind of look like you're floating there. The easy fix around that specifically is just to log out and log back in. Now, it has also been reported that when you do that, sometimes you can't sprint once you do log back in. Like, your character's now walking around, but you can't sprint and you can't interact with anything yet. Guess what? How you fix that is you log out and you log back in again. And it does work. But those are a couple of the known issues. If you do encounter that, though, hit that F9 key and report it so that the devs can actually make the fix and understand how it's actually happening and how that bug kind of surfaces. But with these updates, things like this always happen. And honestly, I think I'm willing to deal with some of those as long as the content that they are bringing is coming. And the frequency of update from R46 to R47, I think, was only about 3 weeks in between when R46 came out to when R47 came out, which is an impressive turnaround time. And if they can keep this going, then that would be awesome. Now, on that particular note, I also would like to go on the record and say that historically, at least, Mainframe has been known to take a little bit of a summer holiday where a lot of people end up out of the office around that July timeframe. I don't know if this year is the same, but in the past, the studio has gone kind of quiet over the July timeframe, and then they start spinning back up in that mid-August to end of August time frame. So we might not be getting a patch altogether too soon, but I could also be relatively wrong on that. I don't know. Generally speaking, the last couple of years, they have had kind of a out of office time around this period, being in the EU, and generally that's when people take their holidays. And specifically with the World Cup going on and all of that, I would imagine some of them are actually working remotely and having some fun over here in the States, enjoying some football going on over here. But with that being said, that is the R47 patch. But what's more exciting for today is also the announcement of the Pax Dei trial. So the Pax Dei trial, this is something that people have been asking about on the channel all the way back in January. And specifically, it was because in the month of January, we did have a free trial come out. And when that free trial came out, there was actually a large influx of new players. And those new players stayed around quite a while after the actual free weekend ended. You know, sometimes free weekends can happen. People get to try it out, and it's a blurb, and then it just goes straight back down. But the numbers actually recovered and stayed. And obviously, you know, the trend for every game is you have the bump and then it goes down. It's always going down until the next content, and then you have a bump and then it goes down. And then eventually you get enough of these updates where eventually the player number either stabilizes or it actually starts going up. But with the actual update today with the Pax Dei trial, they kind of revealed, hey, we've been planning for this for a while, and they're planning on doing a full announcement alongside this, but a lot of the reworks and things that they've been doing have been in preparation for this Pax Dei trial. So what is it? Basically, the trial gives access to the full game to all of Pax Dei for 7 days, and it's not a separate limited version of the game. It is quite literally the entire game. You can play it 7 days. There you go. Now, with that being said, players will also get a plot available to them over the course of those 7 days, and they will be able to go and play. Now, this is specifically not linked to a Steam free weekend. This is a literal option when going to buy the game. You can try it out for free, purchase it in Steam for free for 7 days, and then you'll have the option to subscribe. And if you do, then great, you have your one plot and you're good to go. Or if you don't, also great, your plot will expire in 72 hours and all of your materials will go into your redeeming queue, which if at a later time you do choose to come back to the game and subscribe, you'll have access to all of those materials as well. So this is a really exciting thing. And I wanted to talk just really briefly about the Steam free weekend and why we haven't seen another one. And I actually asked Mainframe this offline. And one of the reasons for it, from what I've gathered, is you can only have one Steam, like Steam's policies are that you can only have one free weekend a year. I didn't do much research beyond that because I was trusting the person that I was speaking to, my source. But generally speaking, that does kind of make sense. Steam doesn't want a game offering free weekends every weekend and then eroding kind of the sales on their platform. I understand that from the platform perspective, but basically that's why come January, they weren't actually able to offer a free weekend because they'd already offered the free weekend for this year specifically. But now with this new trial, it is literally a piece or a part of the game. They can, people can purchase the game. And if they choose to subscribe, then they choose to subscribe. If they don't, then they don't. But in addition to that, obviously the 7-day trial, it doesn't convert on a subscription. It converts on purchase of the game. And you get one plot token when you buy the game. So you'd get 1 month for free, and then you would get the actual base game, the actual ability to play. And I think what's important and what we need to do as a community for just in general for the game to continue to grow and thrive is help people to understand that you can play the game with no subscription very easily. You get 400 grace every month. You can go and buy a grace plot, and one plot is great. If you go and join a clan and you have one plot to add in, guess what? Chances are you're going to be able to do quite literally everything in the game. And if you're flexible, you can, and you wanted to play solo, not saying that the game should cater to people who want to play solo, because again, this is a social sandbox game, not a individual sandbox game. Even for people who want to go it by themselves, they can have the full Pax Dei experience as long as they're focusing on maybe like 1 or 2 crafting trades. They can have the whole experience and do it all on one plot. You don't have to have more than one plot. In fact, you could probably play the whole game without a plot if you wanted to. But just by playing the game, you get enough gold in to convert into grace, to be able to get grace, enough grace every month very easily to convert into a grace plot. So we as a community need to help people understand that a little bit better, especially when this trial comes out. As you start seeing new players logging into the game, reach out to them, say, hey, welcome, be a welcoming community. We all are pretty good at that. I think a lot of the community in Pax Dei is quite the welcoming one. We are a small community right now, but small communities and strong communities can grow together. So that's something that we can do. And with this Pax Dei trial, I think this is a great opportunity for us to do that. So nevertheless, exciting news with the Pax Dei trial. It did probably take them quite a while to get this all set and ready to go. And they probably didn't want to just release a trial without having some of the features that would be conducive to letting new players into clans without having massive risks to clans who have built entire cities and then watching it all get burned away by free accounts with 7 days who go and join and, do the subterfuge thing. And then you end up deleting your enemy's city because you feel like it. They're trying to avoid that. And the homesteader permission that got added with R47 is a great step in that direction, where if they're in a homesteader position, they literally can't delete anything that's on a clan plot that hasn't been placed more than 3 days ago. So that pretty much solves that problem indefinitely. Nevertheless, that's all the updates that we have for today. Thanks again to all of our channel members who are financially supporting the channel. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you get notified whenever we come out with new Pax Dei or Pax Dei related content, and share this video with any of your friends who are interested in learning more about Pax Dei. The Pax Dei trial is coming very soon, so it's going to be a great opportunity for you all to share the trial with as many humans as physically possible, and with the frequency of updates that are coming out, and hopefully that continues. It's looking like we're going in a very positive direction in my opinion. So let me know in the comments what you think, and until the next one, I'm Altari, the Professional Gamer.